What was your mom and dad's name?
My mama's name was Octavia Medlock. Daddy's name was George Carter Brown.
Yeah.
And I think she died when she was 32 years old. And my daddy was 83.
Yeah. What was her cause of death?
Tuberculosis.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And there was 6 of us children.
And that was the oldest was...
I was the oldest.
You were the oldest.
I'm the oldest. Jim was next. And there was one in between. Tammy was her name. She died. Then Lily. And Roy. And May. May was the baby. She died when she died about 6 months after Mama died. She's 6 months old when Mama died.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And Mama died in November. I can't tell you the month, Terry, because I don't remember.
How old?
You know, I was 9 years old, and you can't expect me to know much.
Yeah.
I don't know much yet, but I was very young. And Roy was 3.
Uh-huh.
And Lily was, she's 5, yes, she's 5. Lily was 5.
So some of your earliest recollections probably had to do with taking care of all your brothers and sisters.
Yes, that was what I had to do. Yeah. The baby, you see, it was just, well, it was born in May and she died in November. That's how old the baby was now. And I had to take care of it because there's nobody else to do it.
So you were a mother at the age of 9 and still a mother at 98.
That's something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've outlived them all, and I never thought I'd do that, but I have. So that's the way it is.
So when did your father remarry?
After she died in November. He married the next April. Sure didn't wait long.
Yeah, he needed a mother for all those children.
Yeah, but he made a mistake, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and her name was?
Minnie. Minnie White. Yeah.
And then the children that came after that were, what was first?
Furch.
Furch was first.
Almer. And Vanny. And Odell. And Dillard. And Conley. And Johnny.
Yeah. Johnny Sims.
Yeah, Johnny's the baby. He's the same age as Carol, only Carol's 3 days older than he.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all the difference was then. Carol always tells him Johnny says Daddy all the time.
Yeah. So where did you live and where were you born?
You know that up there at the Forks Road, right up that old road, there's an old house. There's a house up there. Just, you can't see it from the road now, but you used to, you could, but there's so much road. There's no house there now. I was born and raised there. Yeah. Went to school, what's called the Draco School, and they'd had, well, you may not want to hear this, I don't know. Well, they just had one old stove, you know, in there. First they just had a fireplace, and then they got an old pot-belly stove in there, and we had no desk. We hold our books in our hand. That's the way it was.
And what age did you start?
I think I was about 7 when I started. Yeah. But I never did go much, Terry, because I had to stay at home and work and tend to the children.
Mm-hmm.
And I never did go to school none hardly.
Yeah.
Of course, I got so I could sort of read and write, but
Mhm.
that's all.
Yeah.
But I didn't go more than maybe 3 days out of a week when I went.
Yeah.
And none of us didn't go none much.
Mm-hmm.
Roy never got to go none, scarcely any. Jim didn't go. Jim could write, but he could read, but he couldn't write.
Mm-hmm.
Roy couldn't read nor write, neither one.
Yeah.
No, neither one of them could.
Do you have much memory of your grandparents?
Yeah, they lived what they call Duck Creek. It's, I don't know, it's about 3 miles from here, I guess, back that road that goes up the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they lived in a log house. And there's grandma was 85 or 86, and grandpa was 85 when he died.
Mm-hmm.
He had a long white beard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that was your father's,
that's my mother's.
your mother's. Okay.
I don't know a thing about my Grandpa Brown. He died before I was ever born.
Mm-hmm.
But Granny Brown lived. I can remember her.
Mm-hmm.
And she lived till, I guess I was about, maybe I was 10 years old when she died. I don't know exactly. I can't remember. But I believe I was about 10 when she died.
Mm-hmm.
But I never knowed nothing about my Grandpa Brown.
Mm-hmm.
He was gone. Well, he died before, when my daddy was small, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, so at 9 years old, you were trying. Did you just quit school altogether during, after your mother's death, or?
No, I went some after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not much, but I went some after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what were some of the chores that you had to do other than take care of your brothers and sisters?
Well, just to cook and do a little house cleaning and things. That was just what I could do. That was it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not so much of nothing, just what I had to do the washing.
Mm-hmm.
And that
That was a big job.
big job with nothing to wash with,
Mm-hmm. So you made your own soap.
Yeah.
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 And so you
Yeah.
took skins from.
From meat,
Mm-hmm.
hog meat,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Say that. And all, we'd have old meat left over, and
Mm-hmm.
it wouldn't be good, that you say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
That's
you
right.
boiled that in a big pot with some.
Uh-huh, yeah. Put it in a flour sack,
Yeah.
cotton flour sack,
Uh-huh.
and boil it till you got the grease out of it.
Uh-huh.
Take that out, leave the meat, out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Then put your lye in it and boil it till it got thick, and then you let it set till it cooled, and you took it out and cut it up in cakes.
Mm-hmm.
And just like any other soap, only
Mm-hmm.
it's white. It's
Mhm.
pretty soap.
Yeah. So did you do it? Your washing at a creek or a stream?
Yeah, well, we had tubs,
Mm-hmm.
wooden tubs.
Mm-hmm.
Wooden tubs is what we had to use.
Uh-huh.
The big black stone pot
Mm-hmm.
is about so big,
Mm-hmm.
and that was what we had.
Most of your clothes made out of cotton.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Everything was cotton.
There wasn't nothing but cotton and wool.
Mm-hmm.
There's wool, but of course we didn't never get none of it because it's too expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But they did have wool then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's all. There's nothing but wool and cotton.
How many sets of clothes did you have at that time?
Well, really, I wouldn't know to tell you, but not more than two.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I could have had three, but I don't think so, Terry. I think I just had two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One kind of decent,
Yeah.
and another it wasn't decent.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was it.
So, how old were you when you first got to see a town like Lenore or a nearby town?
Oh, I was in my early teens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One time, when I was about 7 years old, my mama had a sister that lived in Lenore, and we went up there to visit her in a covered wagon.
Yeah.
And I guess I was about 7 years old.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know just my age, but I think I was about 7 years old.
Uh-huh.
And we went up there. But I didn't see the town. I was in that covered wagon and I couldn't see it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, the next time I ever went, you want me to tell you this?
Yeah.
Well, it was on a lumber wagon.
Really?
Yeah. On the lumber wagon and 2 mules hitched to the wagon.
Yeah.
That's what I went on. Took off from before daylight till after dark to
Yeah.
go there and back.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the way we went. And I'd get out and walk some because, it's hard to ride on that wagon all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a rough ride.
Yeah. And one time, my daddy got a job in Wadesboro, North Carolina. And he took a couple of hands with him to work down there, and Jim went. And we went in a covered wagon all the way to Wadesboro, and that's on the other side of High Point.
Mm. It's a long
And we
trip.
got down there, and that man had lied him. And we had to turn around and come back home.
How long did that take?
Well, it took us nearly a week, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Almost a week to
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
Amazing.
Of course, we stayed all night down there, and then I think a day. He kept trying to get something, to do. He couldn't get nothing. He thought he had a contract for logging. That was what he's going to do.
Yeah.
And he thought he had a contract for it. And that man went back on him. And so that was it. But I went with them down there. Jim and Minnie's brother and one of my cousins. And I stayed at a home wherever I could get to stay anywhere on the road. I stayed at a home every night. I didn't they stayed in the wagon, but I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed there every night at somebody's home.
Mm-hmm.
People was awful good to me.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a long, long time.
Yeah.
It was a long way. And we'd get out and walk for miles and miles and then get back in that old covered wagon.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe it, but it's true.
Amazing.
Yeah.